Gebre Krstos, the son of Theodosius, emperor of Constantine. Theodosius was a God-loving man and one who feared God, and his wife was a good and God-fearing woman, and her name was Marquisa, and they were sorrowful because they had no son. And they went to Jerusalem, and they made vows, and they made supplication to God, and he heard them and gave them a son, and they called his name Abdelmezi, that is to say, Gebre Krstos. And they taught him every kind of learning on the earth, and there was nothing which he did not learn. Afterwards they married him to a princess of Rome, and they brought to him the bride, and they performed for him all the ceremonies, which are wont to be performed for the bridegroom and bride. And at midnight Gebre Krstos took the bride by the hand, and they made a covenant together, and then they recited the prayer of belief, "We believe in one God," to the end thereof. Then he stripped off himself the marriage garments, and dressed himself in coarse apparel, and he went to the bride and kissed her head, and he bade her farewell, saying unto her, "God be with thee, and deliver thee from every evil work of Satan." And she wept and said unto him, "Whither goest thou? And to whom wilt thou leave me?" And he said unto her, "I have thee to God, and I am going to follow Christ, for my Father's kingdom is a transitory thing. Remember thou thine oath." And straightway she was silent and remembered her oath. And he went forth by night whilst those who belonged to the marriage chamber were sleeping. And he came to the seashore where he found certain men who were about to sail, and they took him with them. And when his father and his mother went into the marriage chamber, and found only the bride and not the bridegroom, they said unto her, "Where is our son?" And she said unto them, "He came in to me in the night, and made me swear an oath, and made a covenant with me, and he kissed my head, and went away from me, and I have passed the night weeping." When they heard her words, they fell down upon the ground, on their faces, and they groaned, and uttered loud cries of grief and lamentation. And the Emperor Theodosius sent out 500 of his servants to seek his son, and he gave them much gold to distribute among the poor in alms. Now Gebre Krstos arrived in the country of Armenia after a journey of 1 year. And there was a church built in the name of Our Lady Mariam, and he lived there for 5 years fasting and keeping vigil. And 2 envoys, servants of his father, arrived there, and they searched for him but were unable to hear any news of him. And they gave alms to the poor, and Gebre Krstos himself received some of them. After he had dwelt there for 25 years, Our Holy Lady the Virgin Mariam appeared unto certain priest, and she said unto him, "Take the man of God with thee, and let his habitation be inside the church." And he did as she had commanded him. And Gebre Krstos said, "My lady, why dost thou reveal my secret?" And he bade farewell to her picture or image. And he departed by night and came to the seashore, where he found a ship in which he embarked. Now he wished to depart to another country, but by the will of God he arrived at his father's city, and he dwelt there of 15 years, and no man recognized him. And his father's servants used to make sport of him. But Saint Gebre Krstos said, "O God, punish not my father's servants for their offense, but take me to thyself." And thus saying he died, and they buried him with honor. As they were burying him, they found a paper grasped tightly in his hand, and they were unable to remove it. And they prayed together to the God of heaven. And when they had prayed, the paper was released from his hand, and they read it, and they knew that he was their son. Then they wept bitterly, and they buried him. And his tomb became a place where the sick were healed, and where the blind were made to see, and where many miracles were wrought, and where countless acts of grace were performed. Saint Louis Gebre Christ passed away on October 24th. Salutation to Gebre Krstos, whose sores the dogs licked in the courtyard of his father's house. Glory be to God, who is glorified in his saints. Amen. What an incredible journey of faith and devotion.